and welcome to the behind the scenes of Destiny Minimations, Episode 1, Bubble Trouble. Joining me is the art director and lead modeling artist, Christina Koch. And
Hello.
I am Chris Dyke. So this video, working on it in our free time, on and off for, what, about a month and a half, 2 months?
Maybe 2.5. If we really want to be, I guess, generous.
And
there was a lot to get done, and we both work full-time jobs.
Mm-hmm.
I work from home. Chris Dyke is an IT
help desk
serviceman,
technician.
or help desk technician. Yeah. So he and I both work full-time. We don't really have a lot of time to just sit at home and work on this. So it was all in our free time.
And I believe Kat, we know each other. I know her as Kat in the Raid Parade, which you may have seen other videos on the channel for. You started these models for a personal project, which we will not discuss because we want that to be a secret. But you made these models, and what? There's how many that are planned?
There's currently 9 planned. Only 2 are complete, and that's the first model I ever did was of my human Warlock wearing Obsidian Mind and Queensguard robes. And the second one that I worked on was Chris's character, who's a Exo-Titan. And when I had finished the models, he said, "Hey, can I have them? I want to have some fun with them." So I zipped them all up and I sent them his way. And naturally, he, as he usually does something hilarious with them.
Mm-hmm. I think it started off just making a few dance gifs and whatnot, but as kind of sat with them, having worked on my own series in the past, Minecraft Minimations, which was a fan-animated series of moments from the Achievement Hunter Let's Plays, and then once during my year at Rooster Teeth, I made the show Let's Play Minimations for them, which was along the same lines. I kind of thought, well, I kind of like the idea of these like short time, format little short films that use these little characters and these little highlight moments, but in this case, there's not really much material for us to go off of for like any Let's Play that we wanted to do. We wanted to make our own thing. I think most of the ideas for the first episode, I just started scripting it. I think I did.
Yeah,
I did a what's it called, storyboard, and then I think you and a few other people from our group, the Raid Parade, gave feedback, and we kind of formed into the idea we have now. And some of that coming after animation had started.
Yeah, a lot of the very starting ideas were mostly just little in-jokes between you and I. And those ideas evolved into, well, what if we animated these? And it's like, well, we do have these cute little characters that you've so wonderfully rigged and gotten moving in Maya, so we might as well do something with that together. It's a bit like peanut butter and jelly, if you will.
I think once I did start the modeling process, which you're probably seeing the footage of right now. We initially started with just a temp background that was going to be on a very linear, side-scroller type set. And most of the animation was done early on. Just only little bits added after we got the full environment, which I was initially going to settle for the temp environment to get the video out sooner. But
I was having none of that.
No.
I saw the original temp environment, and I was like, Chris, no, this is not going to fly. I mean, if we're going to do this, we're going to do this right.
Mm-hmm.
So I put the project on hold for several weeks while I worked on the background art, and that proved to be the right choice.
And we ended up with this beautiful rendition of Shores of Time, I believe, is the name of the multiplayer map.
One of my favorite maps.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
It's like the Guardian map from Halo 3, but the Destiny version. It's like the go-to 6v6, small to medium-sized map. You just have tons of fun on it.
Got great sight lines for sniping if that's your thing. Great narrow corridors if you're a shotgunner. It's great for medium to long range or close range encounters with MIDA or a good auto rifle. So it's a great map. It's one of my personal favorites. Visually, it's beautiful. I think one of the best in the game. So that's why I chose it. And once the environment was done, it was simply a matter of taking the original animation that Chris had already done in Maya and simply shifting the environment to match what had already been done.
Yeah, in the actual original scene files, the entire temp background is still there, and it just kind of moves around. The entire old scene just moves around to fit the location in Shores of Time as it needs to be for what we ended up with, which that went through several iterations, and things. The first pass was the camera was very static. There wasn't much to it. I was keeping in the tradition from the Minecraft Minimations back when I was working them on my own, where I didn't have the camera move so I don't have to render so many frames of the background each frame, because back then I didn't have as good of a computer to render this stuff out with. And since I have a brand new computer as of I think it was not very many months.
Probably a year ago at this point,
yeah,
I'd say.
It's still a very new computer with a lot of stuff that can handle this kind of rendering in a decent amount of time. And we decided to kind of go all out. We made a few compromises to meet. We wanted to get this done before Rise of Iron dropped, the latest Destiny DLC. And
we just barely managed to hit that window, but we did it. So
not to mention
pretty exciting.
The little bug on Bungie.net where the community creation page was broken, and we had to resubmit it 3 times before they realized that it was not working.
Yeah, that's a little frustrating. We wound up losing some exposure because of that, but I think if we just keep putting out new episodes, the community for it will eventually form. I mean, that's just typically how these things work out, so.
Mm-hmm. And, let's see, a few things started as temp, like the environment, also the weapon, which was my first legendary hand cannon in the game, the Devil You Know. What started out as, again, I was going to settle for this very... the whole style is low poly, but I was going for a very basic low poly that Cat punched up a bit and added a texture to. It was originally going to be just the Vanguard blue color from weapons in Vanilla Destiny, and Cat made it into the wonderful little pixel thing it is today with full textures and accurate colors, because mine was
actually if you want to see the Devil You Know as a 3D turntable, we're going to include a link for that in the description. I have it on my on my Sketchfab page, so there you can actually load it up and pan your camera around it and check out all the textures. Same thing with the actual environment. It's also up on Sketchfab, so if you're curious about 3D models or turntables, definitely check that out. It'll be up in the description, so and then, for people who are curious about that, it's an option.
Then once all the scene, the animation, the props, all that fell together, we started rendering, which was a mad scramble the week and a half before Rise of Iron dropped. We did condense some of the render passes to save time, but it ended up looking very well. It looked very good in the end. But we can only go higher and better from here. Compositing was one of the challenges on this, because most of the biggest thing that we needed to get right was the Ward of Dawn, which is the Titan's bubble shield. That went through probably, I don't know, 7 to 10.
I'd say 7 to 10 iterations easily.
Yeah.
Just because Chris would show me a screenshot. He goes, "Cat, how's this?" I'm like, "I hate it. Change it."
And let's just say that there's a lot of times where, because I don't come from a purely editing standpoint, I came from an animation background from what I did in college and what my work on Rooster Teeth was, and we had Kat be the art director to approve the final looks of everything for a very good reason.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a stickler for looks, and visually speaking, I grew up in an era when PS1 games great examples are Resident Evil, Silent Hill, and Wipeout always had a very distinct look to them. Nice sharp colors and pixels and low-resolution textures, and that's really the kind of the look I went for with the characters and the modeling for the environment, and the textures, of course. So I wanted to make sure that was maintained even in the compositing phase, and tried to make sure that the look really matched. So we finally found a good look for the bubble that we both liked, and I think it went up on YouTube shortly after that.
Yeah. But before all that, the traditional Minimations I'd been doing did not have music. They had very minimal audio editing, occasionally a sound effect here and there. But this was kind of like more of an action-oriented piece, like in the beginning with like a little chase. It's not
a little more
like, it's not
cinematic.
like big action, but it's, you know, more action than what's in the Minimations videos I've done. Having silence and footsteps, just like no music, wasn't really going to cut it for this little thing. And Kat had found a YouTuber and musician who does remixes of Destiny songs. And
but in a nice retro 8-bit style. If you frequent the Destiny subreddit, you'll have probably seen his posts up on front page numerous times. He goes by NeptuneEDM, and we'll be leaving a link to his YouTube channel in the description. We definitely recommend checking out his remixes. They're very good. Definitely worth checking out if you're a fan of retro 8-bit music.
Mm. And then for the final audio pass, aside from the kick-ass tunes that Neptune did, we actually went to Destiny to get the sound effects that would normally be associated with, like, the gun, the aiming, like, zooming in, the use of the bubble shield. All of that was just straight from Destiny. Just found, like, a nice quiet place, turned off music in custom matches, which were a great help in scouting out the... well, once we had finished it, it would have been nice to have them sooner to get the look of, you know, references of the map that we used for the environment, because that we didn't have that tool to us when we started. But,
yeah, I had to scout Shores of Time just by trying to load in Crucible and praying to our Jesus that it would give me the map I needed, and it took a lot of days of recording minute-long clips in Destiny trying to get footage from different parts of the map. So we got custom maps towards the end of the development lifecycle on this episode, which meant we had to work a lot from memory.
Mm-hmm. But we used Destiny, found a nice spot, and I believe it was Bannerfall I used to record these sound effects of the devil you know firing, zooming in, zooming out, the Ward of Dawn going off, this continuous sound of it existing, and that's pretty much the sound effects that went into it, along with a few free sound effects from freesound.org that were in Creative Commons license. And
well, let's not forget the Foley, of course. Towards the end of the development cycle, as I was reviewing several of the play blasts that Chris had been sending me, mind you, laughing my ass off at the little fart bubble at the end, that's still hilarious to me, I was like, you know, we need some little sounds to fill in some of this space. And I was like, well, what if the characters didn't really have a voice, but more ambient Foley, a bit like a character from Legend of Zelda? You know, like, ha! Like
yeah.
little noises, you know? And it wound up working really well. Characters obviously have a personality, but they don't have to speak anything, and so regardless of where you live, it makes the video is watchable, whether you're Japanese, German, Italian, so the video just clicks regardless of where you are, so.
And speaking of voices, future installments, you might hear some familiar voices if you're in the YouTube space with Destiny news and stuff along that lines, so keep an ear out for any, I guess it would be Destiny celebrity voices. Also,
we're hoping to get some cameos from some well-known YouTubers, well as some other fan favorites amongst the art community. We'll be doing some cameos with them as well, so be on the lookout for that.
If you're familiar with any like series of Destiny fan art, you might see a familiar face. Which, don't worry, we'll make it very obvious who is showing up when they do, in descriptions, titles, maybe stuff like that.
You won't miss it, we promise you.
Mm-hmm. And with that, I think that's just a little peek into what it took to make an episode of an animated series like this, just with, essentially doing it out of your own home with skills that you've, been practicing years on. I think I started 3D animation in, 2009. And Kat's been doing it her whole life.
Yeah, pretty much. If you guys have any questions, concerns, comments, suggestions, leave a comment in the section below. You can drop me a message on YouTube or Twitter. My handle should be in the description. I'm DarkEcoCat.
And mine as well.
I'll be happy to answer your questions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Chris as well. We're just a couple of nerds who like making nerdy things, and we want to kind of pass that forward. So if you guys have any questions, let us know.
And continuing our unhealthy obsession with Destiny.
I think I recently hit 2,000 hours.
Jeez, I don't want to know mine.
No, not ashamed at all. I love Destiny. I love what it's given me, one of the greatest clans in the world. So, with that said, I appreciate you guys for joining us, and hope you have a wonderful day.
And I guess stay tuned for more.
Absolutely. Ciao.